Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your May 2018 general readings. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and welcome to any newcomers. Thank you for all your likes, shares, subscribes, and always for all your support, feedback, and comments. Much appreciated. And also a big thank you to all of my clients out there, both regular and new, for keeping me so busy and joyfully occupied with personal one-on-one readings. And if any of you are interested in a one-on-one personal reading with me and you haven't read with me before, you've forgotten the information, you can get more information in my contact details by either clicking on the description bar of all the videos that I post, or you can go to my YouTube channel's homepage and click on the little About button for more information and my contact details. You can email me directly at maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. Turnaround time for personal readings, live or recorded, is usually pretty fast because I do readings full-time, 5 to 6 days a week. It is what I do. And I can usually schedule a reading anywhere between a few days, upwards of 2 weeks, but almost always within a 2-week period of time. And I can usually get back to you within the first day or the first 24 hours of your initial contact. So if you're interested, send me an email. We'll go from there. As most of you know, I do a wide variety of readings in all areas of life, love and romance, of course, compatibility charting, career, work, and finance, reconciliation, possibility spreads, and I also do 6 and 12-month overviews, which look at all the energies coming in your life over the next 6 or 12 months, depending on how far out you want to look. And I also do channeled messages from past on loved ones. So contact me and I'd be happy to set something up for you. So moving right along, also for fast answers to the really quick, easy questions, you can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy, and that's also with my contact details. So getting right into this reading is for the air sign of Libra for the month of May 2018. Let's see what's in store for our Librans for May 2018. If you know your rising and your moon sign, watch those videos as well. Sometimes they play out a little more predictably for you and can give you additional insight and clarification. Because these are general readings, so they're kind of tricky. Sometimes you're reading for a lot of people, so the details and specifics are always going to vary, but the energy and advice fundamentally remains the same. Okay, Libra, we begin with the Ace of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. We have the Fool and the Six of Swords, the World and the Four of Swords, and we have the Two of Wands and the Hanging Man. And from the bottom of the deck, your overall energy and guidance is the Lovers. You have a fair amount of major arcana cards, Libra. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So with 9 cards total, including the crowning card, that's almost half of your cards. And a lot of the signs I've done so far have had a fair amount of major arcana cards as well. So a lot of opportunities for significant life shifts and changes for the month of May 2018. So this is a very nice reading, Libra. It looks like there is an offer or opportunity in front of you, or there was recently. So, you know, timing being fluid, and because these are general readings, some of you, this may be an opportunity or offer in front of you, which you may be in the middle of considering what to do about. Some of you, this may be very recent. And it looks like this is an opportunity or an offer which will affect a primary relationship, like your soulmate relationship, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, or a significant, you know, relationship of some kind. I think for a lot of you, what I'm feeling is that it's an already established relationship you have, and the opportunity that's in front of you may not be directly about the relationship, but the decision you make will significantly affect the relationship. For a smaller portion of you, it may be about the relationship itself. Because your overall energy and focus and guidance is the Lovers, your crowning card from the bottom of the deck. The Lovers is a card that represents a pretty significant karmic relationship. Very passionate, very connective, kinetic relationship. As you can see, no lack of heat between these two people. And it represents also making a choice or having something in front of you that you need to make a decision about that's going to significantly affect your primary or very significant relationship, you and the other person, or everybody involved if there's more than one person. It also represents making that significant decision. In fact, in the early tarot decks, this was not called the Lovers, it was called the Choice. And it showed a man standing in front of two women, or a woman standing in front of two men, and the implication being that they had to make a choice, and that choice was going to significantly affect the lives of everybody involved. This does not necessarily mean that you're making a choice between two people, or that the choice is about the relationship itself, although, you know, for I think maybe a small portion of you it might be. But for the majority of you, there's something in front of you that whatever choice you make about it is going to affect the relationship and how it will affect the relationship. So that's your overall focus for the month of May. So we find ourselves at the beginning of the month. I am recording these in the last few days, the last week of April. So some of you, this may be, you know, starting a little bit earlier. We have the Ace of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. So Pentacles energy. This is earth energy, which is the element which governs the suit of Pentacles. And in the tarot, this usually manifests in the earthly, tangible, concrete, often practical part of our lives, like, you know, money, finances, property, real estate, resources, assets, job. Those tangible things that we can see and touch and feel, or tangible results of the efforts we put into things in other areas of our life. Aces represent the number 1. So it represents being at the introductory start of something, a new path, a new beginning, or the opportunity for one that holds a lot of promise and potential. I always liken the aces to seeds. They have a lot of potential if they're planted and nurtured and taken care of properly, so that they can manifest their full potential. So this is a practical or tangible new beginning. This is a card that often comes up for moving, relocating, starting a new job, you know, a new beginning in your life that makes a difference, a tangible difference in your day-to-day life. It can also represent beginning a new job, which is also a tangible new beginning. And sometimes it represents a combination of all of those. Some of you may be moving or have the opportunity to move for work or for a new job. Sometimes the Ace of Pentacles also represents receiving an unexpected sum of money or resources that will enable you to have a tangible or practical new beginning in some way. So there's that. And it is clarified by the Knight of Pentacles. So knights are the bringers, the deliverers of the tarot. They're the ones that go charging off because they're knights on missions and quests to achieve something and bring the results back. So they often represent offers and opportunities, and they also often can represent the speed at which a situation moves. The Knight of Pentacles, out of all 4 of the knights, moves the slowest, even though knights are known for being impulsive and spontaneous. So knights in and of themselves can represent a situation that moves fairly quickly. This knight is slower because he's governed by the element of earth, but it's earth energy, so it's strong, steady, reliable energy. He may be slower than the other 3 knights, but he will complete the mission, complete the quest, get the job done step by step. Sometimes he represents the kind of person, the kind of earth sign person sometimes that you don't really maybe notice or pay that much attention to while they're there, but you notice when they're gone, because that's when you really appreciate and understand how much work they actually do. Steady, reliable energy, or an offer or opportunity, tangible in nature, that looks really good. Sometimes this combination of cards can be something a bit as casual as people perhaps helping you have a tangible, practical new beginning. Sometimes it could be people helping you move. The Knight of Pentacles can often show up too for new jobs, or the offer of a new job, or the opportunity for a new job or a new project. You know, when we talk about work or jobs in the tarot, it can apply to everybody, regardless of whether you're working a traditional 9-to-5 or clock in, clock out job. It can be for homemakers or people who are spend a lot of their time just working on projects. Whatever you do in your day-to-day life, the efforts that you put into your day-to-day life that kind of support your day-to-day life. So it looks like there's definitely an opportunity in front of you, and it looks really good, and it feels really promising too. Again, what the nature of that is tricky in general readings, because we're reading for so many of you watching, and everybody has different things going on in their lives. Other than the Pentacles, there's a fairly even scattering of energy here. We have 1 Wands, 2 Swords, 2 Pentacles, no Cups, but we do have that Lover's energy. Cups would represent more emotional feeling energy and relationship energy. So it looks like, you know, there's a lot of earth and air energy here. Air is thoughts and belief systems and what goes on up in our heads. So it looks like for the majority of you, whatever this opportunity or offer is in front of you is most likely tangible in nature. Meaning that day-to-day part of your life, moving, relocating, new job, new project. If it's specifically focused just around a relationship, it could represent, you know, moving in together, getting married, you know, something that affects your day-to-day life within the relationship. Because remember, your overall energy is making a choice or a decision. There's something in front of you that you need to decide on that's going to significantly affect your primary relationship or that very close relationship, whether it's about the relationship itself or how the decision will affect it. For example, and for some of you, again, it could be choosing between 2 people, making a relationship choice, but I'm not really feeling that. And I feel like for a lot of you, it's a relationship you're already in. And you or your partner, maybe there's an opportunity for a new job, and it's going, the hours may affect you or your partner, moving or relocating, which of course would affect your primary partner, particularly if you're not living together, even if you are living together as well or married. So that's the energy going into it so far. Now next we have the Fool, my favorite card in the tarot, and the 6 of Swords. So the Fool's another major arcana card, my favorite of the major arcana cards. The Fool is just starting out. You can see he has the 0 at the top of his card. This is the first major arcana card in the deck. You also have the World right next to him, which is the last major arcana card in the deck, which represents being on top of the world, kind of having traveled through the journey and coming to a culmination point. And all of the cards in between the Fool and the World and the tarot are about the Fool's journey, which really means our journey through life, how we grow and mature and evolve and learn through victory and triumph and failure and defeat and trial and error, all of the things we learn until we end up with the World, being on top of the world, which is a card of completion and accomplishment. So the Fool is at the beginning. He's just starting out. And often when the Fool comes up, particularly in the upright position, it's a beautiful, lovely, childlike, almost carefree energy because he's just starting out and he's not really concerned too much about the specifics and details of the journey. It's always good to have a goal and a destination and plan for that, because otherwise you could end up just wandering all over the place. But the Fool is also here to remind us of the importance of the journey itself, of what we learn, what we gain, and how we evolve on the journey itself, the experience itself. And often the Fool shows up when we're doing something or thinking about, when we've made a decision or we're thinking about making a decision that may be different than what we've done before, that may be outside of our normal way of behaving or choosing. Maybe even be something that feels a little risky, because the Fool is all about stepping off the beaten path and carving out new paths. So again, this offer opportunity in front of you may be something that you've never done before. And also for those of you who may be like moving or relocating or considering a major change that's going to involve the relationship, maybe considering moving in together, or you may be moving or relocating or something, and you think now is the time, you know, I don't want to be separated from my partner. Maybe it's time to kind of join our lives together in a deeper, more committed way. And that may be, that in itself may be part of what the Fool represents for you too, because it's starting off new and it feels exciting but sometimes kind of scary too. So the Fool is clarified by the 6 of Swords. Swords is air energy, and in the tarot this energy usually manifests in our heads, basically. Air energy is mental, cerebral, intellectual energy. It's about what goes on up here. Our thoughts, our ideas, how we think about things, how we perceive things, our belief systems, because that really affects the way that we see and relate and communicate with the world, with people in the world. Truth, enlightenment, higher education, everything that goes on up in here. So the 6 of Swords is a card primarily of moving away from what may be a challenging or chaotic or unbalanced time in your life, and moving into a place that's more, as you can see, this woman is doing peaceful, placid, serene. The waters behind her would be very choppy and turbulent, but she's moving away from that, or he is moving away from that into a time that's more harmonious and peaceful and balanced. And there's a strong element of healing associated with this card as well. It's transitional, meaning that it's a movement card. She's not quite to the other she's left the worst behind her. She's not quite to the other shore yet, on solid ground, but it's a card of moving towards that. And sometimes with the number 6 is related to movement and travel as well. Sometimes this can represent literal travel. So new beginnings, it looks like a part of this offer or opportunity that's in front of you. There's a healing component in it as well. And it does look like it would give you, or is giving you, the opportunity to move away from a time period that maybe has been chaotic or turbulent or unbalanced. It could be with finances too for some of you. This offer that feels pretty concrete, perhaps in terms of moving or getting a new job or an influx of money or resources, can help take you out of a place where you've been financially maybe quite unstable, and that certainly affects the primary relationship as well. And again, it could be, you know, really moving away. Some of you, it could be just the opportunity to get away for a time, although I feel like the opportunity is a beginning that could really play out for quite a significant period of time, and it looks like it has the potential to be quite abundant, maybe in dollars and cents and in your physical surroundings as well. And it could be too that those of you who are in an established relationship that has been going through some rocky times, this new beginning and moving away may actually be quite a healing element for you. Some of you, it could be that perhaps you've no, I'm actually not going to go with that because I'm not feeling it. So moving on, we have the World and the Four of Swords. So the World is right next to the Fool, which is interesting because we have the first card in the tarot, the last card in the tarot. The World is a card of completion, culmination, and what's next, what lies ahead. So we begin at the Fool's journey at the beginning with the Fool and everything that goes in between that, and then finally we reach a culmination point, the World. We've reached the top of the world, the top of a mountain, and so it can represent reaching, there's something that's finished, that's completed, that's run its course, and just getting to where you've at, even if you've fallen down and made mistakes, you've learned. It's quite a card of accomplishment, and it's about pausing for a minute to take a look back at this very significant mountain that you've finally succeeded in climbing, or that, you know, you're done with. And looking at everything that it took to get you from where you started to now, and then turning around and looking in the other direction, and what's next. Perhaps you learned and did things that you didn't think you were capable of, which affects the way that we look in the future. Well, if I'm capable of that, and if I've come this far, I wonder what else I'm capable of, potential and promise looking ahead. But definitely a culmination point. And it could be, again, if you're you know, getting a new job, you're moving, relocating, wherever you have been and what you've been going through, where you have been, particularly if it's you and a partner together, you've done really well to get to the point that you're at now, and there is a sense of completion. It is done. And for those of you who are still in this decision making mode, if that helps, it looks like whatever you have meant to be, you were meant to do. If you're thinking about whether to take this offer or opportunity, it looks like whatever you have been doing is at a completion point. And the World is accompanied, clarified by the Four of Swords, which is a card of respite. Sometimes when this card comes up, it can represent feeling tired, overwhelmed. You've been doing a lot. You can see this man is girded for battle. He's just finished or is taking a break from battle. You can see that what represents the challenge or the battle or whatever he's been working hard at is represented by these swords, and his own is lying close by his hand should he need it. But for the time being, it's a card of withdrawing from conflict, challenge, struggle, work, to take some time out. Some of you, in fact, may be traveling or planning on taking a trip, doing something different, if not moving and relocating before you start a new job. It looks like this sense of completion comes with it, a sense of being glad that it's over, because you're tired, you know, and maybe you're on a path, career-wise or otherwise, or maybe with a project, or you've been working at it for a long time, you have the opportunity to do something different, and you're thinking, maybe I should, maybe I've done what I came here to do, because I'm feeling kind of tired, I don't want to do this anymore, it's time for me to take a time out. Take a time out, even if that's a physical time out as well. And then at or towards the end of the month, we have the Two of Wands and the Hanging Man. So this is more advice than anything else. The Two of Wands, Wands is fire energy. And in the tarot, this is often, it can sometimes manifest in artistic or creative ventures, career. It's about building and manifesting and growing things. That's the energy of fire, because it's creation energy. It's powerful, action-oriented, fluid, dynamic energy. The Two of Wands is a card about looking ahead at your long-term goals, or figuring out or setting long-term goals or new long-term goals, which is what this man is doing. So we're starting over again. It looks like you have the opportunity to do it, or are doing, and I think most of you will if you haven't decided yet. We're early on in the journey again here, this new journey, because we're only at the two. This man has come to a crossroads and he's trying to figure out which path to take. Do I go this way? Do I go that way? And the key is in looking down the road. This is not a card about making the decision on which path to take based on how good it looks right now, but rather what you're wanting to achieve down the road. What's your vision? What's your big term? Where do you want to be a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And once you have a clear idea, a definitive idea of what your long-term goals are, it makes it easier to choose the path that will eventually propel you there. Because once you have your long-term goals set, then you know that the decisions and choices and actions that you make and that you take need to continue to propel you towards that long-term goal. Otherwise, they're decisions you don't need to make. So this is a card about looking down the road at what your long-term future is. What do you really want down the road? Because that's going to make deciding how to get there, which path to choose in this new beginning, easier for you. And take some time out to do that. Carve out some quiet time for yourself, perhaps you and your partner, to do that. And don't make this decision kind of hastily or spontaneously, because the Two of Wands is accompanied by the Hanging Man, which can represent being in stasis or limbo, which I don't believe anything ever really is. But it is a card also of withdrawing from conflict, and it's right next to the Four of Swords, so rest and respite after a conflict or a challenge or a lot of work in something. The Hanging Man is also about taking a step back from that and not immediate, and watching how things play out, and waiting to get kind of confirmation maybe of what you're thinking and feeling, trying to put things together without trying to influence or maneuver things or force an outcome. So it's a card of kind of taking a step back and not being actively involved while you're trying to figure out what your long-term goals are. I feel like for some of you, you may have already made this decision to take this new offer or opportunity. I feel like more of you are still considering it. What does it mean? Is it going to be good for us? Is this going to take me towards my long-term goals, or am I changing my long-term goals? Because one of the fundamental things I'm getting is that whatever you've been doing up until now has been a bit of a battle, a challenge, or you've put a lot of effort into it, and it looks like, frankly, it has run its course. And you're wanting to do something different. You may not be quite sure about what to do, because it may require shifting your long-term goals. So definitely be patient with yourself. Take the time to think about what you might want on this new journey, on this new beginning. And make sure to be definitive about what your long-term goals are, because they can clarify the path that you need to begin now in order to get there. It looks like this is a decision that's going to affect your primary relationship, or perhaps you might be making it together. Again, a smaller portion of you, it may be about the relationship itself, or taking a relationship, to another level, so that this person can be there with you on this journey, or vice versa, depending on which side of the story you're on. So an interesting contemplative month. I will say that whatever the opportunity is in front of you, it looks very good. It looks like it has a lot of potential to affect your day-to-day life in a really positive, blessed way. So Libra, that pretty much sums up your May 2018 general readings. I hope you have enjoyed it and found it useful and helpful in some way. Again, if any of you are interested in a more personal, tailored just for you one-on-one reading, you can get more information and my contact details by clicking on the description bar of all the videos I post, or going to my YouTube channel's homepage and clicking on the little About button. Please feel free to email me directly at Maggie, the number 1 McGuire. I would be most happy to work with you and set up a reading just as quickly as we can. And I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the May 2018 mid-month readings. And until then, as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Take care. Bye-bye.